How's everyone doing today?
A little bit better than you, I would imagine. What are the feelings like now that it's been a few minutes since everything happened?
I would say really what it comes down to is like the only thing that's unfortunate is that it doesn't it'll be 5-1-1 on my record. Like on paper, it shows that it was a no contest, but I mean, it's tough to be too disappointed about that because I felt so good and I was out there performing and doing everything I said I was gonna do. You know what I'm saying? I was on route to be the first person to finish him. You know what I'm saying? And he quit. Everyone saw that he quit. You know what I mean? He didn't want anymore. So, like I said, I mean, it's unfortunate, but that's the game. You know what I mean? I'm gonna get back to the gym, keep on improving, because this isn't by any means like a step backwards. You know what I'm saying? I think my stock still went up, even though it wasn't officially a win. I think everyone saw that and saw what kind of performances I can put out there, what kind of level I'm fighting at right now. So it's unfortunate. It's not ideal, by any stretch of the imagination, but it could be a lot worse as well.
Could you tell me a little bit about what you guys were saying to each other? We heard some bits of it. What can you tell me was the gist of the conversation?
What am I allowed to say on here? We said there was a lot of mean words said. You know what I'm saying? A lot of words I would get mad at my son for saying. You know what I mean? It's just basically I called him. Man, I can't even really. My mom watches these, so I can't even really say what I actually said. It was.
We heard it.
Yeah, it was. But it was like, I mean, it was just tough to me because he's literally, he's trying to be a tough guy and acting like he wants to fight. It's like, brother, we were literally just we had a sanctioned fight happening, and you took the first opportunity to get out of there. Don't act tough now. Don't. He's looking at me with both eyes. I'm like, I can see you looking at me with that eye that you just said you couldn't fight with. What in the world? But whatever. He wants to act tough. He knows I was whooping his ass. You know what I'm saying? He didn't even hardly touch me that whole fight. And I wasn't just touching him. I was rocking him. You know what I'm saying? I got to go back and watch it. But, whatever. You know what I'm saying? We move on. We got bigger and better things to move on to anyways. So.
Would you say that is kind of what triggered the argument, the fact that he seemed like he wanted to fight and didn't a few minutes before? Was that
No. What triggered the argument is I looked at him and called him a pussy. That's what triggered. It wasn't even because it was. I knew it wasn't that bad. You know what I mean? I knew it wasn't that bad. I've been poked in the eye before. You know what I'm saying? I've accidentally poked people in the eye before. It was, and I'm sitting there, I'm looking at him. He's fine. You know what I'm saying? It was really just one of those things where he was getting his ass whooped. He knew that there was no way he was going to win that fight. He knew beyond a shadow of a doubt there was no way he was going to win that fight. So when he had an opportunity to act like he couldn't see so that they would call it a no contest, I mean, no contest is better than a loss, you know what I'm saying, which is clearly what he was heading for, you know what I'm saying? He didn't have the speed, he didn't have the power, he didn't have the size, he didn't have the grappling technique, he didn't have the striking technique. He didn't have it in any of those areas to compete with me. So, it's unfortunate, but, whatever. We move on. That's life. That's the fight game. You know what I mean? I got bigger and better things on the horizon anyway, so just keep on moving.
Would you agree to a rematch?
If the UFC, I don't see how he agrees to a rematch. I mean, that's like an easy paycheck for me. You know what I'm saying? I would prefer to keep on moving up in the rankings. I would prefer to fight someone with a more of a name, because it's like we're the co-main event, but like we're not the co-main event if he's the A side. You know what I'm saying? Like I was the A side of this match. I'm ready to move on to something bigger and better. But if the UFC hits me up and they're like Ange Loosa, such and such a date, I'm like, all right, fine, I'll whoop his ass again. You know what I mean?
Would you fight next week if they asked you to?
Yeah. Well, I gotta ask my coach. My coach over there looking at me. He's like, settle down, Bryan. Settle down. I'm like, all right. My bad. I'm sorry, coach.
Last one for me. Realistically, when do you get back in there? And do you have a name in mind? Did you have a name you were gonna call out after this fight?
I had no name I was gonna call out. You know what I mean? Like I'm watching all these guys in the rankings fight, and I feel like I can beat all these guys. so it really doesn't matter to me. I mean, like, I mean, like, let me get like Neil Magny. You know what I'm saying? Neil Magny is like the guy that apparently you got to fight to get into the rankings. You know what I'm saying? But I mean, really, I'm feeling top 10 and above. You know what I mean? Like that's how I'm feeling. You know. And so we'll see. We'll see what happens. I mean, as long as I'm getting paid to fight, I'm ultimately happy. But you know, I feel like that's where my skill level's at. You know what I'm saying? I haven't even been pushed by any of these guys yet, for real, for real. So. The only person I would ever call out again is probably Renat, you know what I'm saying? But that's because we have unfinished business. But outside of that, give me someone in the top 10.
Granted, I know that's not how you wanted the fight to play out, but are there positives that you could take away? Like you said, you felt like you were dominating, but when you look back on this fight, are you going to feel that there were good things that took place in this fight?
Yeah, absolutely. It's fun. I've been watching. If anyone's ever around me during fight week, you see me watching a lot of Michael Jordan material. You know what I'm saying? A lot of Last Dance material. And there's that part where after he goes against the Pistons for the second time, he starts lifting weights because he talks about, you know, he's tired of getting beat up and, you know, how, you know, he just changed his body physically and it felt, you know, it took him to another level. That's how I felt going into this fight. I had been a lot more intense on my strength and conditioning regimen, you know, and everything was just the way it was supposed to be. You know, the techniques that, you know, me and my coach were working, you know, the strength and conditioning, kind of making everything work together a little bit, the confidence, everything was just coming together. The weight cut was easier than I thought. Like, I was assuming the weight cut was going to be harder because I had more muscle on, but the weight cut was actually easier. Everything was just happening the way that it was supposed to happen, and so it's no surprise that everything was happening in the fight the way that it was supposed to happen. So, I mean, yeah, there's a lot of positives to take away from this, but the biggest thing is to just keep on growing, to keep on getting better. You know what I mean? If anything, it's just validation. You know what I mean? So, yeah, a lot of good things.
I'm glad you brought up the weight because you looked like you were a little rough up there, but you're saying you actually felt pretty good on weigh-in day?
No. So what I mean by that is, I thought it was going to be harder to get on to weight, so I actually got on weight way earlier than I anticipated. Like, so I was actually, that's why I looked so rough, because I was just like on weight way too early, and I just like I was just, that wasn't a part. Like, I thought I was gonna have to do another session at this time, and then so when I was on weight, I was like, oh man, it's like 1 o'clock in the morning. I got a long time to like sit here. So it was, yeah, no, so that was annoying. You know what I mean? Yeah, I always look like an absolute alien during the way, you know, my ribs are like popping, my spine. I look like a dinosaur or whatever. You know what I mean? But you know, it's just part of the game. You know what I mean?
Last for me, I mean, it's the fight game. Feelings are going to get hurt. Were there any regrets that it got a little weird there at the end?
Hell no. Hey, I hope he has regrets. The fucking pussy. I'm sorry.
If you guys do run it back, and we mentioned about it on Media Day, thanks for taking that time and then coming over here to talk to us, because I know emotions were high. So shout out to you to, you know, just say, you know what, let me go talk to the folks. Maybe you guys could run that back in an arena, because that storyline and then, you know, settle that beef would be just fantastic in front of a crowd.
Well, first of all, I said this earlier. It is a privilege to be able to talk to you guys. So, you know, as y'all don't ever gotta thank me. Thank you guys. You know what I mean? Like, this is, you know, I can communicate through you guys to like the greater MMA community. So I appreciate the opportunity just to be able to talk to y'all. But I mean, if that's something that the people want, you know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, if people want to watch me whoop Ange's ass again, yeah, we could do it in an arena. I don't care. Like I said, I mean, I'd like to move on to someone ranked, but I mean, fuck it, dude. You know what I'm saying? Like, pay me to whoop that man's ass again. I'll do it.
And how did you find the that motivation? I'm curious. Like, as a growing up, is like a basketball thing, or just one of the greats, LeBron, Jordan, Kobe? Because that's very specific to watch them tapes and the last. That's super cool, by the way.
Yeah.
Is that something you gravitate towards, or their ability? Because even Macy earlier talked about Mamba mentality and Kobe Bryant and Serena Williams. So that's kind of cool. You guys are on that same wavelength.
Well, there's certain people that like Michael Jordan, Ayrton Senna, Dale Earnhardt Sr. There's certain people where they like really thrived at the top of their field and they were just such killers, and you could tell that they played with such an intensity that they would have. And two of those guys did die in their sport. You know what I'm saying? They died literally in the act of competing in their sport. And Michael Jordan, he 100% like, I'm sure if you were like Michael Jordan, would you give your life for another 3 NBA titles? He probably would like really think about it. You know what I mean? So just the confidence, the boldness, the courageousness that those guys compete with. That's just something I like to, not necessarily that it just like transitions right into you, but just like hearing them talk about it and watching them go through and their process, looking at their process, how they thought. That's all stuff that really like it resonates with me. You know what I'm saying? Especially the higher I climb up into and the competition just gets tougher and tougher and tougher. You got to really be next level competitive, and just your preparation just to keep up. You know what I'm saying? So. Yeah, I would say I resonate with that, and I look to it for example of like how to climb higher and how to be greater than I already am.
That's awesome, man. So I could kind of see now why you guys have, and professional athletes, that's what I mean by you guys, have like these alter egos. Deion Sanders had Prime Time, Mike Tyson, Iron Mike, Jordan, Air Jordan. So now we see why you got the aviator shades and the blonde hair.
I know. I had my shades with me. I brought them with me. I just left them at the damn hotel. And so as soon as we were on the shuttle on the way over there, I was like, I fucking forgot. I was looking at I was in the back. I was like, does anyone have some glasses I could borrow before I go do this media? But no one had any shades for me. It was too bad. You know what I mean?
It's all good. We'll save it for next time.
Next time, for sure. Next time, for sure.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Bryan, I just got one in the back here. I was just wondering what happened after the fight when you were walking out. Looks like someone was screaming at you and got your attention.
Man, it was his brother, dude. His brother was trying to act tough. I was like, bro, I'll whoop your ass too, bro. Settle the fuck down, dude. Like, your brother's a professional fighter. I whooped his ass. You don't think I'll whoop your ass too? But whatever, dude. You know what I'm saying? I get it. I would be the same way if like one of my siblings had an altercation. I would also be like sitting there. But no, actually, I probably wouldn't do that because I would be with my sibling and I would be asking them why they quit in front of the world like that and embarrassed our family on ESPN. But that's just me, you know what I'm saying? He decided to come talk shit to me and, whatever, bro. You know what I'm saying? I'm surprised they let him in the building, but, that's just me.